superb.
So the 2006 Metzler Racetech National Superstock Championship is about to come under starters' orders. Pole position, John Ingram, Steve Allen, Craig Fitzpatrick and John Laverty are across the front row. We are looking at the stagger grid at the moment. Steve Allen on the Nvidia bike, John Ingram to the right of your picture, and down the hill John Laverty to the left of your picture on bike 14 then. They come under orders now. Paddock Hill Bend is the first turn here on the Indy circuit at Brands Hatch. And they all just fall across down the hill towards the inside of the track. Who made that whole shot? It's a great start up the inside. John Laverty, but sweeping round the outside at Paddock Hill Bend. Down the dip. With me here in the commentary position is Tony Carter of Motorcycle News. He'll be with me all day today. They're at Druids already.
John Ingram just got a real ham-fisted start there, but he managed to claw it back. And Laverty is all over the place. I tell you what though, Keith, Craig Fitzpatrick...
Oh, down, he's gone. He touched that white line on the outside there. That is the 56 bike of John Ingram. The pole sitter has already stepped off at Graham Hill Bend. That exit is absolutely treacherous, and I can't tell you how bad he will feel about that.
And if we need any other indication of just how slippery it is out there right now, this is it.
Out, well, I don't think he even touched that line, to be honest, but he got out a little wide, which is perfectly normal for this particular part of the track, and he was very, very lucky that no other rider ran over him or ran into the motorcycle, because just there they're all looking for that line. So then, it's Coates, I think, that's inherited this lead.
Craig Fitzpatrick out there, coming around Druids at the moment, Keith.
Craig Fitzpatrick on bike 75 that's inherited the lead after that. Schmozzles down at Graham Hill Bend again. That's how quick it goes around this racetrack. We're already on lap 2 of the 26 laps. Oh, and I tell you what, behind as they come onto the Cooper Straight, all sorts of position juggling going on as we get onto McLaren and then up towards Clearway. It's a favourite part of the track meet for this, because it joins the long circuit just here, and sometimes if it's wet, which it's not at the moment, it can be treacherously slippery. It can be held on that particular part of the track. We're on clearways.
Look at Adrian Counts. So bike's number 19, the second man in your screen right now. Look how he's closing down on Craig Fitzpatrick. There's a rider who's really got the bit between his teeth, Keith. Head down, dropping down now through Halewood Hill. Really on it.
Adrian Coates last year had some great rides, and indeed a couple of wins in the middle of the season, one at Silverstone, one at Snetterton, the 2 long tracks on our calendar. Adrian Coates, former Grand Prix rider from the 250 Grand Prix class, superb on a motorcycle. Got a great style, Adrian Coates. I do like watching him. That's bike 19 in second place, but the man who's got all the style at the moment, Craig Fitzpatrick, bike 75, out front, looking fantastic. Only finished, what, 4th in the championship last year, and to my knowledge, only 1 win. That was at Brands Hatch on the Grand Prix circuit at the end of last year in the Racetech Series. So superb for Fitzpatrick. He likes Brands Hatch. We're on the short circuit now, and I can tell you that he finished, I think he finished in 3rd place at this track last year.
Keep your eye on Steve Allen, the 3rd man in the shot there, Keith, on the green bike on the R1. Unbelievable. He's been at that seat more times than the jack in the box in the past lap. He's really trying, and he's starting to get back onto terms now with Adrian Coates.
Steve Allen has looked quick all the way through practice and qualifying. A really likeable man. The Scot, if you remember at Knock Hill a couple of years ago, he was absolutely fantastic in Sky Sports coverage. And I've got to say, Steve Allen, one of my mates around the paddock, used to ride for the MSS Discovery team, got knocked out of that team last year, and I think it dented his his confidence a little bit, but he's back with a bang with the Nvidia team, run by, of course, our old mate, the Northeastern Mafia of Brent Gladwin, along with Tony Robinson, long-time sponsor of motorcycling, and they put this Nvidia team together, great little team, and Steve Allen doing the business for him in 3rd place at the moment, and Adrian Coates, the Ulsterman, under all sorts of pressure. John Ingram still, what am I saying? John Ingram, the pole sitter, is out of this race if you've only just tuned in. Crashed on the opening lap after setting pole. Craig Fitzpatrick is the man who leads on bike 75. Along the Cooper Straight, up towards 30s now. Closing in on them. Bike 24, it looks to me as if slowly but surely, Brendan Roberts, formerly of the Virgin Mobile Cup Series, last year finished 2nd in the Virgin Mobile Cup One Make Series last. Oops, who we got down there? So, he's a big boy, I wouldn't argue with him. I can't argue with a bloke in this commentary position either, he's a big lad.
Easy, Keith. That was Ian Mackman who'd fallen off there. So Ian Mackman, thankfully he looks okay though, just a bit ruffled.
Well, you're bound to be. Lap 6 of 26, of course. Very short laps indeed. There's a yellow flag, no passing then under a yellow flag. 75. That is Craig Fitzpatrick leading 19 Adrian Coates by the Scotsman, number 2, Steve Allen. 4th place, Brendan Roberts on bike 24. John Boy Lee, another Virgin Mobile Cup refugee, is up here on bike 78 in 5th place at the moment. And then it's Dave Johnson, bike 89 in 6th place. Dave Johnson, I think he stepped off in qualifying. That's probably why he was so far down the grid.
Allen runs really wide at Clark's, Keith. Looks like he was going to try and park it in the gravel. Managed to call it back though, and that sent Dave Coates away. Well, they're chopping and changing, and this is going to allow Roberts to claw all his way back onto the back of them if they're not careful. Allen looks up the inside of the paddock.
Classic move.
Nice move.
Absolutely classic. I love this part. In fact, I love Brands Hatch. It's my favourite motorcycle racetrack. Sometimes, could be said, not the safest of racetracks, but certainly not one of the most dangerous either. But a great racetrack. So, Craig Fitzpatrick about to come under severe pressure from Steve Allen. And despite what you said earlier in the commentary, I've got to say, Steve Allen looking particularly smooth now he's settled down.
Seems to have settled down now, but it was certainly popping around all over the place earlier on. But that line into McLaren here was obviously working very well for him. He got the run all the way through Clearways. He's trying to, again, you see him cutting up there on the inside of Clearways, and it's just working for Stevie Allen as he's breathing all down the back of Craig Fitzpatrick.
And of course it's Steve Allen's teammate that's on the back of this bunch in 5th place at the moment, the Nvidia biker John Boy Lee. And if these guys trip themselves up, there he is, he's just in your picture at paddock, he could well join the party.
And now, of course, we've got Roberts now breathing all down the back of Coates. Well, he's trying to barge his way through, isn't he? Trying to find some elbow space in there. Tough to do on this track on such big bikes, but Coatesy is now coming under some severe pressure.
Brendan Roberts, fastest lap to him so far on lap 6. And let me take a look at that, because I think that's a new lap record from Brendan Roberts. 48.3, I think that says on my monitor.
Yeah, that record stands to Les Shand on 47.9, yeah.
From 2004, that's a long time ago. So it's got to go, is all I can say. And when a record's got to go, it's got to go as they come to the line again to start lap 9 of 26.
Steve Allen looks fabulous coming out of Clearways every single lap. The bike settled down. He seems to be getting his head around it. Maybe the tyres have warmed up enough now, Keith. But whatever it is, he's finding a lot of drive out of there.
Is it me, or have these new Kawasaki's got themselves sorted out fairly well this year?
Well, by all accounts,
well, even the Yamahas.
By all accounts, they are pretty good bikes straight out of the crate for racing. Everyone we've spoken to seems to be quite happy with them as a good leaving pad from where they were last year with the old ZX10.
So, Brendan Roberts, bike 24, there he is. 4th place at the moment. Fastest lap to him as we come up. It's a sequence of corners here where it's McLaren, Clark, and then Clearways, almost all in that, as quick as you can say it. They couldn't get enough names in that turn. Paddock Hill Bend. Up the inside.
Roberts, yeah. Brilliant move.
Lovely move indeed. And he pushed out wide. So Roberts takes that 3rd place.
Coates must be wondering what's going on here, because he's getting mugged every time he slows up for a corner. That's what it seems over the past few laps.
Lap 10 of 26 as we come round to Stirling's corner. Craig Fitzpatrick has led this race right from poleman John Ingram's demise on bend number 3 after the start. He fell completely uninjured.
Look at Brendan Roberts now all over the back of Steve Allen. Allen was really looking like he was going to be causing Fitzpatrick all sorts of problems coming out of Clearways, but that's not the case, and now he's starting to fall back into the gap of the fastest man out there is Brendan Roberts, the 3rd man in this quartet you can see on screen right now.
And John Boy Lee in 5th place hasn't been able to, well, capitalise really on these guys tripping themselves over.
Roberts, he's lost a lot of that aggressiveness he used to have, certainly when he was doing the R6 Cup, Keith, because he's now a lot smoother. You can see it. The bigger bikes, of course, don't let you be quite as aggressive as the smaller stuff out there, but he's got some fantastic lines, some rare old lines occasionally into McLaren, it has to be said, but he seems to have it all under control right now.
Yeah, it's all remarkably smooth for the opening one of the year, isn't it, really? These 4 guys, I'm sure they're waiting till they have the opportunity to pull the pin a little bit later.
Well, we've still got a long way to go, but yeah, it's smooth at the moment. Although we're coming in the paddock this time, Roberts got a great run in there on the back of Steve Allen. And of course, Coatesy now back on terms with them all, so it's another 4-way dice.
Well, tyres, of course, is something that may become an issue later on in this race when they've seen the best of their lives. We're coming round for about half distance now.
Tiny little bobble there from Roberts as he was coming out of Druid's hairpin. Just enough to show how hard he's trying with that throttle, how early he's trying to get on it in the corner.
That's a lovely line from the 4th place man at the moment, Copse. He really does take some, look at that, he was
Good
wide
line.
on the way in, tight on the way out, and he gets the drive underneath 24, Brendan Roberts. Doesn't make it stick, but it was still a lovely line.
He nearly nudged Brendan Roberts' knee out of the way with his front side, didn't he? That was so beautifully done.
Well, I reckon these guys have been very, very well behaved, as it turns out at the moment.
Coates has another look up the inside as they're going into Druids. He's trying to pressurise Roberts to get him out of the way. Move over Brendan. I'm coming through is the message from Coates. Whether he can make it stick or not is a different matter. But he seems to be from here, Keith, that on the track he's building his momentum. He's using those lines and he's really closing up on the back of Brendan Roberts. Of course, as I've said that, it's not going to happen this lap, naturally. But
it
it's
will
from all this way round. You can see him here. Coates, brilliant. Swings on the outside, then tries to cut back across to get that drive out of clearways.
Well, the camber there drops away tremendously. When you get to the right on the peak of that corner, camber drops away, and Coates is really using his noddle as far as trying to line himself up for that drive through clearways. And of course, it's all about the drive through clearways. If you're going to make a pass up into Paddock Hill Bend, you've got to be somewhere in the vicinity. Look how far away Steve Allen.
Back in the group now, and you look at guys like John McGuinness and Lee Jackson, and they've just got no answer out here today. Jackson, he's down in 12th place. You wouldn't think that of last year's champion. He's really been struggling here, and I honestly did think that if it was going to rain, if the conditions were going to get worse, then Lee Jackson would be able to at least find some of the form. He was pretty quick yesterday in the wet.
Well, my scary position, I have to say, from qualifying was Les Shand, right on the back row of the grid. He's the lap record holder here. Les Shand on bike 77, and I'm looking down the order for him, and he's not even on my leaderboard here, and I go down to 20. So it's a diabolical day for Les Shand so far here at Brands Hatch, but it's certainly not for Craig Fitzpatrick, still out front. Still looking at 4th place man there, Adrian Coates. Despite his experience, despite his style, and despite his wonderful lines at clearways, he's still in 4th place. But I think we've got to watch Steve Allen in 2nd place. For me, he's the man that's taken his time, measuring the guy in front of him. He doesn't feel threatened by the guy behind him yet. And we've still got a long way to go. Lap 15 of 26. Very windy here as well as they come out of the dip and up onto clearways. The wind cutting across them now from our camera left to right. From there right to left.
You know, out of Surtees, look at Steve Allen breathing. Brendan Roberts, all at the inside of Steve Allen. I wonder if there, kid, he's trying a bit more of a defensive line. Isn't working. Dave Coates goes up the inside now. Great drive out of clearways from Coates. Not to be at paddock this time.
Well, again, it just seems to be that Coates loses it into paddock for whatever reason that is. So
could he be rehearsing?
Well, I don't think so. I think he's rehearsed enough, hasn't he? He should be conversant with that by now.
Yeah, fair enough. You know, if I'm thinking for a last lap dash, Keith, as he comes out of clearways, if he doesn't think, or penultimate lap dash, obviously, if he doesn't think he's got enough oomph to get around him, whether he can just put in a blocking pass there, perhaps.
Well, maybe. Robin Vale Transport sponsor Brendan Roberts is Suzuki, whereas the 19 bike, of course, of Adrian Coates is the Dyer Engineering Racing bike, so not a lot in it. Of course, there won't be a lot in these motorcycles because they all are pretty stock. Lap 17 of 26. Steve Allen now looking a little racy, just picking out a line, taking a look at where he may have some kind of advantage. Up into Druid's corner, back to about 55 miles an hour, 50 mile an hour on the Superstock bikes. This is, of course, the Metzler Race Tech Nationals. Yeah, down to Graham Hill. He looked like, to me, he was just experimenting with where he wanted to be on the racetrack. And pretty much I think that's going to be the last we see of Steve Allen for the moment, but coming straight back at him, Craig Fitzpatrick. Well, that's what you've got to do in those circumstances, is slap him down.
And that was exactly one of the great things the great Steve Hislop was good at, wasn't it? As soon as he was past, he would chop straight back on them. And Steve Allen, fair play. I mean, he made that stick and he held that line as well coming out of there, Keith. Well, it looked almost impossibly tight going into Graham Hill.
He needed to be tough. Well, on our picture it looks tight, but you've got to be up the inside. Graham Hill's one of them corners that you can actually turn it quite tight. You're going to run out a little wide, but Steve Allen, I reckon, had that weighed up about a week ago. Down the dip, up towards Druids. This is a passing opportunity here, if you're any good. Wave yellow flag at Druid's corner, and I think that is who's fallen there, Kelvin Riley. So Kelvin Riley on a TW2 MSS Discovery Kawasaki is down in the dirt, and that's a bit of a disaster for them at the moment. Kelvin Riley is Lee Jackson's teammate, of course, at TW2. TW2 got the last year's defending champion.
Oh, Coatsy going so wide again. Steve Allen, though, with 7 laps to go, soon to be 6 laps to go, looks to have pulled the pin. He looks to be trying to get out. It's Craig Fitzpatrick trying everything to get on terms.
Well,
again.
he's just spinning up there, isn't he, at the end of the day? You ride road bikes, you know what they're like on road tyres once they get to this stage where they get a little bit warm. And there's a lot of horsepower these road bikes chuck out. And trying to lay it all down on a racetrack, believe me, is not the easiest thing in the world. I must say Steve Allen has ridden so far a faultless race. I mean, I think he's going to give you a hard time for giving him the comment of looking a bit ragged early on in the race, but maybe it was just nerves and he shook him out of him in the first lap. And now, I mean, his pass was perfect. When he needed to be tough, he was at this particular point a couple of laps ago to make sure that he made that pass stick. And Craig Fitzpatrick at the moment has no answer. Adrian Coates off to his car park route again. Out nice and wide. Cuts it back.
Fitzpatrick back up the inside, Keith. Has he got the drive to take it?
I think he has, because here, I have to say, Steve Allen is struggling to nail it down to the floor just there. I just think that Yamaha's just spinning a little bit for him as he comes onto the front straight here. And Craig Fitzpatrick just looks a little bit neater. Craig Fitzpatrick, of course, on a Yamaha as well. Portsmouth's Yamaha sponsor him.
Allen looks and look up the inside at Druids, not to be this time. But, you know, Keith, like you say, Allen does look a lot more composed than Fitzpatrick. Well, I put the kibosh on that, didn't I?
You did indeed, but Steve Allen seems to have that little bit of a problem with the way that he's spinning that rear end at the moment. I don't know whether it's his style or whether it's whether he has actually got that bike set slightly differently, and he's under a lot of pressure from Brendan Roberts now. Brendan Roberts was having a right old go there. 2 Yamahas versus 2 Suzukis. What a great dogfight. As they come to start lap 21 of the 26. Craig Fitzpatrick, well, I thought,
Coatsy.
and it just goes to show you what I thought, doesn't count for anything. I thought Steve Allen would clear off, but Steve Allen has been thwarted by Craig Fitzpatrick's pace. It was Fitzpatrick who didn't want to show his hand earlier. He's just stuck in another fastest lap on lap 19, 48.3, so he's outside of the lap record by quite a long way still. And I think now that these tyres are beginning to go off, there's not much chance of banging in any lap record times, but I stand to be corrected. It is the first one of the year, and commentators, of course, quite often find themselves saying something that isn't relevant. I'll try and leave that to you, Tony, all right?
Hey, that's what I'm here for, Keith. But the thing with Steve Allen is, at the start of the race, he did look a little ragged. He was popping out the seat, just like you saw him there at Clearways. And Steve Allen on the green bike.
Just as we were looking at Pesky Pete Ward on the Chase Accident Racing Yamaha. He's up from the Virgin Mobile Cup last year.
And he was in 5th, so it was a good ride by Pesky.
It was. Bike 32 is out. Druid's corner. That's Craig Fitzpatrick. Great style. Down the hill. That's where Pesky Pete has fallen. That's where the wave yellow flags are. No one's allowed to pass on. You can see how close it is. Very dangerous for the marshals indeed if someone else tumbles off there and wipes the legs out from under them. Up the McLaren link now, on to Clark, then Clearways. Back to 50 odd mile an hour at that point. It's a very, very tricky part of the course. Get photographs from there. Now, it looks like you've really got your knee on the ground, Tony. You should try it sometime. Over the line to start, lap 23. Paddock Hill Bend.
Oh, Brendan Roberts, so fast into there. He's going to struggle to turn that.
He's frustrated. At the end of the day, he's frustrated. He wants to get past Steve Allen. And I think that was a little bit lack of experience on these bikes. He was really in such a hurry. He's given himself a lot of work to do, but he's got 3 laps, 2.5 laps to get it done again and close in on Steve Allen. Steve Allen really could find himself dropping back to 3rd place if Brendan Roberts is in that much of a determined mood. Hello, sir. Nice to see you. So the marshals back on their posts, and these 4 having a right old go at Clearways. Adrian Coates, I don't think he can do much from where he is. Oh, he has.
Oh, sorry, Keith. No, he's just cutting across. I honestly thought Adrian Coates there have found that drive on that specific line he's been trying all race. Wasn't to be this time, though.
Well, it's every time. I don't know what it is, whether he's not confident in nailing the thing as he gets onto Clearways corner.
Where's Steve Allen? Where's Steve Allen? Looks like he's gone.
Where did he go? Is he down at Paddock?
He's down at Paddock. Oh, no, what a nightmare.
Is that Paddock Hill Bend? We're looking at, he is on the entrance of Paddock Hill Bend. We're looking out at the commentary position here now. So Steve Allen is down and out. That is a disaster for him.
Going so well.
Bike looked a bit of a mess as well. The Nvidia bike up against the barrier. There is Steve Allen. Well, he was lacking a bit of traction. He was on the way into Paddock Hill Bend, middle of the corner. It looks like he came to grief. I can't quite work out exactly what he did, but looks to me like he lost it on the way in rather than halfway round when he's asking for the power. Well, I think those eyes say it all. He is not happy. Do not talk to him. Well, you are a medic, so he'll let you off. So, Steve Allen is out, and that has really lucked a podium for Adrian Coates. The thing about the opening race in anybody's championship, you mustn't fall down. You've got to get a banker set of points in the bank at the opening championship round, because really this can make or break your season at the early race. Can't win the championship in the first round, but you can lose it in the first round, is the old adage.
Or if you're Adrian Coates, you can go and mug a second in the first round. Coates breathing all over the back of Brendan Roberts.
Well, it wouldn't surprise me, but of course they got caught up a little bit with the back marker there. It's caused them a bit of grief, but it hasn't made much difference.
No.
If anything, it's let Craig Fitzpatrick a little bit further away at the front. Lap 26, we are on the final lap of the race, and you've got to say Adrian Coates, well, he's had his chance to get past Brendan Roberts. This will be a great inaugural ride for Brendan Roberts.
Oh, Coates right up the inside of Drew. It's not happened. You know, just after Steve Allen went off track, Roberts grabbed a big handful coming out of Druids here, and it all went sideways, and that allowed Coates back onto him.
Down to Graham Hill. Up the inside goes Adrian Coates. Great move. He got it worked out. Maybe he was shamming when it came to clearways. That's it, because there'll be no way back for Brendan Roberts. But it's still third place at the podium finish in his first Superstock race. Is not a bad result for Brendan. Adrian Coates is an old stager, done it all before, raced against them all before. As we come to the line though, Adrian Coates is going to be shocked that it's Craig Fitzpatrick that has absolutely thrashed him as they come to the line. Checkered flag, there it is, a result for Craig Fitzpatrick from Adrian Coates, from Brendan Roberts. They'll be on the podium. Steve Brogan, Baywatch Brogan, has come through into fourth place. Lee Jackson, the reigning champion, has come up into fifth place, so he should take the checkered flag in fifth. Confirmation of the result then, a race win, a fine race win for 75 Craig Fitzpatrick on his Yamaha. Adrian Coates snuck through into second place. Brendan Roberts a fine third on his opening race of the year. Lee Jackson, defending champion, only fourth but good banking points. Steve Brogan moving through to fifth place. Dave Johnson right up there in sixth place. Steve Booker, good result for Steve Booker in seventh place. And John McGuinness on the HM Plant Honda in eighth. Luke Quidley in ninth. John Laverty 10th. Guy Sanders, Dan Haggerty, Ryan Rainey, Aaron Zanotti and Marshall Neal round out the top point scoring positions, with Adam Jenkinson in